Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights, and I want to thank you for joining us. And those of you that happen to be new or haven't yet subscribed, if you would do so, you won't miss a single of our entertaining and instructive interviews. And today we've got Mark with us. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. Well, good morning to you. Good
That's
evening to
right.
me. Yeah.
Because now Mark originated, I think, in New Jersey, went to Hollywood, did some stint there, and now you're in France.
South of France. Yeah. Poor, pitiful me. I guess start my new career here. So I became a published author in the south of France. So I like the lifestyle and so far so good with the writing. So
It
yeah,
doesn't
this
look
is
like
what
you've
I'll be
done it bad.
doing.
Yeah, that's great. Beautiful home there.
Thank
And
you.
I may have to just come visit. We can write that off as like business thing because,
Oh,
we've
I'm
got a
sure you could.
podcast.
Yeah. The wine tasting is included.
Wine tasting. Yeah, that'll be a rough part of life, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, now you are an author, an award-winning author now, but it's not the first time you've been an award winner in other things too. You're a designer, you've done screenplays, short films. Gosh, you've had a lot of things happen in your life. So, what brought you to writing as an author?
Well, my mother, I think, kind of promoted I called her the champion of the arts, and there's a chapter in the book about that. We all started off early on. I mean, we would take jaunts to. I grew up in the suburbs, I guess, in New York. So it was in New Jersey, the farthest northeast county in New Jersey. So New York was just about 20 minutes away, or 20 hours, depending on traffic. And we would go, she would take us to Broadway and Radio City Music Hall and the ballet. And then all of us, she had six children. I'm the fifth and the youngest son. We all got involved with the ballet. And my start, actually, my older brother and sister were like little stars, and they were working with the Royal Danish Ballet in Lincoln Center, New York, kind of as extras, but they got great costumes and they were performing there. And I went to see them, and it was one of those little Hollywood stories. I'm in the dressing room with my brother and sister and my mom, and some guy bursts through the door and says, "Hey, we need another little kid for the show." And he locks eyes with me and he says, "You, kid, you want to be in it?" And I hesitated. He says, "And we pay you." And I said, "Well, now we're talking." So I was like 6 years old. I got rushed to the dressing room, got a great costume. I looked like a little swashbuckler with the hat and the plume, would have made Errol Flynn jealous. And I stood on this bridge with my brother and sister and other kids. And on cue, we had to throw flowers down on the other professional dancers down on the stage. And I got paid, and I said, "This is great." So then after that, I joined. We had a very good Irene Fokine ballet studio in our hometown, Ridgewood, New Jersey. And so after we were all in a parochial school, and after school, the studio was not far away, so we'd walk to the studio and do ballet all afternoon until mom or dad picked us up. And my brother and I were the only guys in the entire studio, so it was great. But in Hollywood, I took a class, an audition class, and part of the class was, I think it was like a 6 week class, and the teacher said, by the sixth week, you will all be writing a scene and cast it and have it performed. And I'm like, oh my, this is the big time, right? So this is Hollywood. So it's like, that was very frightening. But I wrote a scene and I cast it well. These two guys did a great job with it, and I was hooked. It went over really well, and I said, "Boy, this is good." So I started getting more and more into it, and then I always liked recording family history. Um, for no other reason, I guess I was curious, and I thought some of these things are a shame that they die with some of our relatives. So I would be a really a curious kid, and got both of my parents, who were very quiet and not talkative about family history. I got them both to open up about stuff they weren't comfortable opening up, I guess, with others. But when this thing happened with my mom, I didn't know how long she was going to be with us. But I was there for a lot of the time where other family members weren't. And I was privy to some really lovely moments and some funny moments and some just really cool dialogue between me and my mom. And I said, I don't want the rest of the family to miss out on that. The documentary is on YouTube, and it's on also the Cup of Tea website. So I had a really good relationship with both of them. And one of the things that was very cool early on is when my dad turned 80, a little before that, I was working on a stage adaptation of a Fellini film, one of his classic films, Eight and a Half. And it got me into my Italian roots and real interested in checking out the family roots and stuff. And my grandfather came over from this little village in Italy, Cella San Vito, in southern Italy in the mountains. And nobody had been there for 100 years. Once my grandfather came over, nobody went back. And there were some rumors about why they didn't go back and things like that. So I asked my dad if he wanted to come with me because I'm going. And I talked him into it. So for his 80th birthday, I brought him over to Italy, and I shot a documentary of that. And we cleared the family name as part of that. And my dad wasn't in great shape. He had heart disease, and I didn't realize how bad it was until because I was living in LA and he was in New Jersey. And when I went to pick him up, nobody told me how bad his condition was. But he was a tough cookie. So I didn't realize it until we got to Rome, and he looks at a curb and has to really think about it before trying to step up.
Stepping up into it. Yeah.
So this is going to be a journey. But it was also a role that I cherished and loved, and that was, I guess, my first foray into caregiving. From that, I said, I think a book is going to be the best way to share this experience and hopefully inspire or help others get through it. So,
Yeah.
um,
Well, you must have
yeah.
done a great job. Well, you did a great job. Obviously, it's got like 10 awards that you've won, and we haven't yet listed. A Cup of Tea on the Commode. That's the name of the book. And it is really a unique title, but it does catch the attention. And that's half of what the book you sell by the cover, by the title, and A Cup of Tea on the Commode.
What's really funny about these things is, once you that just came out of the writing, and it also came out of our experience. It was a practical thing. But we set a commode bedside, and sometimes Mother Nature took a little longer than was comfortable for either one of us. So, kind of as a silly gesture, and I said, "Hey, would you like her favorite beverage was a cup of hot tea, skim milk, no sugar." So I said, "Would you like a cup of tea while you're sitting on there?" And she said yes, and it became a hit. So every morning she got a cup of tea on the commode.
And it sounds, it's kind of, you go, well, but having spent 25 years as a firefighter EMT, you get used to those kind of things that aren't particularly normal in life, but it's life. It's the way life works.
Yeah.
So I understand really, but it really is a poignant memoir of elder care, you know, your mother and the effects it had on you and her ending of her time in the world. And you did a good job in it. He said you've got so many awards for it.
I was lucky enough. Well, I think from experience, my dad was funny, my mom was pretty funny, and dad was very clever with words. And my mother was a proofreader for the largest newspaper in New Jersey. So she wasn't so clever, but as far as grammar and spelling, she was a stickler. And luckily, some of that was passed on, certainly to me, but my siblings are a little wacky too. So it helps. And so the writing kind of flows pretty easily for me. They say it's very conversational and not too stilted in any direction. And it's also very entertaining. She was funny. And I asked her for permission if she wanted me to come and be her caregiver and make sure that her last years are as happy as they can be. And when she gave me her approval, I said, just so you know, we're going to have fun. And I learned a lot from it, and it wasn't too sad at the end because we had a great experience, and it was her time to go, and there were no regrets, and There was no suffering really. She had a little bit of pain, but not much. And yeah, I wouldn't have traded it for the world.
Well, that is, we all end sooner or later, and to have things work out well and a return of love that we kind of sometimes forget in the middle. Life just happens to be that way. You're not a first time writer, though you're a first time author here. Uh, what do you have in the future? Are you going to continue writing or are you going to do other things? You've done a ton already in your life.
The wine tasting doesn't end. It's amazing. I see that going. There's no end to that light of the tunnel.
Hey, there's
It
your
keeps
next
glory,
book.
I must admit. Well, the last draft I did before turning it into the publisher, I took out about 4,000 words because I thought they belonged more in a book about my dad. It's an important story. I say it's timely and also timeless because we're all getting older. This thing is going to become a crisis. I think they say by 2050, there's going to be like 480 million people in the world over 80.
Mhm.
And we have to deal with this. And in the old days, three generations were in the house at the same
That's
time.
right.
And learn, we lose respect for, I think, our elders, and they've got a lot to teach us. And it's a bit of a shame. So I'm hoping to change that a little bit. And then when this thing happened with my mom, well, when my dad passed, I only had 8 days with him. I got the call when I was in LA, and they said the doctor said he's got 30 days. Well, he ended up only having 8 days. And so I took a lot of notes and spent most of that time with him. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. I still have those notes, and those notes are helping the book now. That's like 27 years later.
Here. But I'm glad to see that you have a future where you're going, maybe a book or two. Like I said, write one about wine tasting in South France. I might have to come out there
I'm
then and check it
taking
out.
notes. I'm gonna, yeah, I will definitely do that. I just got to make sure I don't upset some of my friends because there's some interesting characters here. So I've got
I
to,
bet.
yeah.
All right. So this is Mark Steven Porro, author of A Cup of Tea on the Commode, award-winning book. And Mark, I want to thank you for spending some time with us today, although maybe not this morning where you are. I
Well, no, I
appreciate
appreciate it. So anytime I can share my mom's story, it keeps her in the present. So that's your gift to me. So I love doing this.
it. Excellent. And next time you publish, get a hold of me. Okay.
Okay, will do. All right,
All
thanks.
right. Mark
All right,
Steven Perot, A Cup of Tea on the Commode. Thank you, Mark. And for the rest of you, until next time, I'm Strider here at Author in the Headlights, sponsored by DurhamandPublishing.com. Check out Mark's book as well as all the others in the DurhamandPublishing.com bookstore. And if you're an author, since Author in the Headlights is for readers and writers, there is an author's resource page there also for all those things you might need to do on your book. Till next time. Sponsored by DurhamandPublishing.com.